colourful explosion, rage gaming shaking, purple ring flash. Hello people, my name is Rage and welcome to the debut episode of the How To Hero series regarding the beautiful game that is DotA 2. Basically I'll be going through various heroes, as many as I can muster, and giving the average player a few easy to learn tips, you know, skilling orders, builds, general information. It's not going to be pro amazing stuff. That stuff you just come from experience, but it's it's for the type of person who thinks, you know what, I've never played this hero, but I want to give him a go. I know the basics of the game, so let me just watch this 10-minute video. Now I'm in a much better position to actually play them without feeding and making my team fail, which happens a fair. Anyway, let's not get into that in this educational video. So yes, this is the first episode, and we will be learning how to do better on my favourite hero, the Queen of Pain. Yes, indeed. Now, the first thing we'll be going over is just generally, what's the Queen of Pain all about? Who is she? No, who is she? We're not going to cover lore. Alright. Now, the Queen of Pain is a ganker caster who is incredibly agile, has tons of high burst damage, and is generally an all-round boss. Now, she has a teleport, a AoE nuke, and a cone frontal nuke, W, E, and R, respectively. And basically these allow her to appear behind someone, burst them down, and then leave without a trace into the night. And it's so much fun to be able to just appear, own a few people, and leave in a sort of hit-and-run type fashion. And she is best used as a ganker mid-game to really cripple enemy carries who are trying to farm, or make it so a support gets no gold. You know, you're going to be targeting the people who are going to be easy kills, you can really keep their gold down by perpetually ganking them through the mid-game. Now, we are going to start with a item build, move on to the skilling order, and then I've got my top 3 tips for early, mid, and late game, which I will be showing for your viewing pleasure. Now, during the tip section there will be some generic footage, some specific to the tip footage, but you know, just something general to keep your eyeballs focused while you listen to my words of wisdom, as it were. So, let's go on to the... Hang on a minute, totally missed some general info. What you need to do on Queen of Pain. So, first of all, we were in the game, we're on Queen of Pain. You want to go mid lane. I have never played her in the side lane, and quite frankly, I think she would be terrible. You could play her in the side lane, but the amount of effectiveness she is in the mid is just unparalleled because of her mobility, and it leaves all the lanes open to be ganked by her relatively quickly. So yeah, you want to be going mid lane on her, definitely. So, yes, we'll move on to the item build. So, the first thing that I get, and this is what I get that I think works well for me, I get good ratios in Queen of Pain and I win games with her. So, yes, obviously item builds are subjective and tips are subjective, but this does work, at least for me. So, there is some basis for it. I start with a bottle and obviously go mid. My next item that I get is 2 lots of the null talismans. And once I've got 2 null talismans, the null talismans are really quite useful because they give you nice stat bonuses early game, 6 to all stats and 12 to intelligence particularly. And you do need the intelligence boost early because Queen of Pain's mana costs are really high comparative to her mana pool early game. So it really does help. Now, after this, you get your boots. Now the boots I always get is power treads. There is some discussion that can be made about which boots to get on her, but I really think power treads, and I leave them on strength, because you're getting the early intelligence from the null talismans, you're getting the early health from power treads. That way you're on about 1000 health, 800 mana by about level 8-9, and you're in a good position to start the ganking phase, but more on that later. Now, this is where my item build splits off. If you're in a pub game and you feel like stomping some noobs, which, let's be honest, is hilarious, I go with a Dagon, and I obviously upgrade it to max level. That way you can appear behind someone, scream, ulti, zap, good game. But if it was a proper game, ranked with actual competent enemies, I would go for a Lincoln Sphere, because it lets you attack harder, which, to late game, Queen of Pain's burst damage does tail off, so you want to actually be laid down the hurt with some auto attacks. Auto attacks? Auto attacks, and Lincoln Sphere does let you do that at the same time as blocking spells and giving you that survivability in the form of HP and mana regen. The 15 all stats obviously increasing the damage, as I mentioned earlier. Now, if the game was to go on longer than that and you need another item, what I normally get is Orchid Malevolence. Yes, indeed. It also boosts your attack damage by a lot, giving you attack speed and damage, and also gives you loads of mana. It's actually a really good item on Hag. Of course, there is open to discussion which next item you should get, but it works well for me because you appear around behind a key target, whack soul burn on them, and just go to town with your nukes, and they fall over, and then you can get the hell out of there. But yes, obviously, from this point, you should be situationally taking what is best for what's happening in the game and with the enemy team. So yes, that's the item build covered. Now the skilling order, I don't see any reason to differ from the skilling order. I don't think it would make any sense not to. So I'm just going to blast it off, and here it is. Q, W, E, 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 R, E, W, 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 R, Q, 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 S, R, and then, obviously, SSS stats for the rest of time. So yes, in more layman's terms, get your slow at level 1, teleport at level 2, then prioritize scream but getting your ulti, then prioritize teleport, then prioritize the slow, then stats. I don't really see any other reason to not do that. It is, let's be honest, optimum. Now let's move on to the meat of the informative video that this is. Yes, informative. But seriously, with our top it's just me, with my top 3 tips for early game. Tip number 1, control the rune. There is no point getting a bottle and going mid and then not controlling the rune. You have a teleport, you are one of the best rune controllers all game. Do not let the person you are laning against get a rune at any point, because honestly, if they do, then you've played badly, unless they are another hero with a teleport. But not many other heroes with teleport actually go mid. That would be silly. So yes, you should be getting every rune and using it to either get last hits or harass your person you are laning against. Now, also early game, you should be really focusing on getting loads of last hits and farming loads, because through the mid and late game you won't really be spending much time in lane actually farming, outside of opportunistic farming, which I'll go into in the late game tips. But yes, really early game, up to level 6-7, you really want to be concentrating on getting as much gold as you can. You ideally want to have the 2 null talismans and the power treads before you start ganking. And you start ganking around 6-7, so that's the kind of time frame you're aiming for. About 2.5k gold before level 7, which is doable to be fair, and if you get a kill, it's always good. Now, the second thing you should be doing, the third thing you should be doing is obviously denying like hell the person you are laning against. There are very few heroes that can have more presence in the mid lane than Queen of Pain. She can teleport in, scream, auto attack a few times, put the slow on. Very often people get over aggressive with Queen of Pain, underestimating her, and you get a first blood, as you will see in the background footage at the moment, and really you make them pay and you get a kill. So yes, those are the 3 main things for the mid for going mid and early game on Queen of Pain. I know it's not amazing, you would think to do this, but a lot of people don't really focus on stuff like this. Control the rune, last hit like crazy, because you won't get another chance to, and well, obviously you will, but you know what I mean. And deny your enemy as much as possible. Obviously doing the normal game things that apply to every character, like calling SS. But yes, you know what I mean. Now, the top 3 tips for mid-game. Now, mid-game is where Queen of Pain is fun as hell and where she really shines, because now it is time to go gank everyone with less than about 900 healthish, because you want to appear behind them, ulti, scream, maybe a few auto attacks, and they will go down. Look for everyone who's not on full health, who you can easily take advantage of. Run up and down the map, still controlling the rune, appearing behind everyone, and just killing the hell out of them. In the back, there is a montage of a game where I went 30-6. I got about 50 to 20 kills in the gank phase. The enemy team were terrible, yes, but she is such a good ganker, it really would not be difficult anyway. So yes, gank like crazy, people. Honestly, you really want to get as many kills as you can in the mid-game. It's your biggest income, the ganks you will get mid-game, and you want to get a max level Dagon or the Lincoln Sphere by the time the late game comes around, depending on what you are doing. So yes, now also in the mid game you want to be opportunistic farming. That's if you're running past a lane and there's a pack on half health, just scream next to them, Yuri, get a load of gold and move on. Don't sit in a lane farming for any longer than about a minute in the mid game. You want to be using that time to gank carries, gank supports, make sure they don't have enough gold to go into the late game and actually win for their team. You are there to prevent people doing well late game by ganking the hell out of them early game because you are so good at it. So yes, that's mostly the mid game covered. Obviously, don't go toe-to-toe with someone unless you are 100% sure you can win. Dying on a hero with a teleport is, as far as I'm concerned, inexcusable. If you play properly, you should never die on a teleport hero, unless it's like 4 people who can chain CC you into the ground. But when you're ganking, it shouldn't be 4 people. If you try and gank 4 people at once by yourself, you're an idiot. So yes, those are the main 3 tips. Gank like crazy, don't go toe-to-toe, and make sure you opportunistic farm when you can. Now, moving on into the late game, where the team fights start happening and we're pushing and, you know, the game is being decided. What you want to do is, in every team fight, wait for your team to engage, then join the fight late. If you join at the same time or slightly early, you will just instantly die because people will focus you down. You want to join the fight about 5 seconds after it's really got underway and hit everyone with your ulti. It will burst everyone down and you will be heralded as a great player. Because, you know, you just won the team fight. You can literally win the team fight with your ulti if it's positioned right, and you have an early enough team fight before everyone's really, really tanky. I cannot stress how important it is to actually kill someone with your ulti. Now, apart from that, you want to be choosing one person in the team fight that you are going to instantly take out. Be it a support or a squishy carry. You want to appear behind them, use the ulti on them, but position yourself in a way it also hits the rest of their team. Scream, use Dagon if you've got it, if not, auto-attack them down with your Q on them, and make sure they are out the fight straight away, turning it into an instant 5v4 where everyone's already really injured from your ulti. You can turn the tides of a team fight with your engagement on Queen of Pain so well. So that is what you have to think about. Your positioning when you enter a fight and when you enter the fight. You are so good at changing the tide of battle. Apart from that, in the late game, just carry on farming. There won't be really many gank opportunities because a lot of people will be roaming. So just make sure you defend, push with your team, and just follow the correct etiquette in your team fight. Late engagement, position correctly, hit everyone with your ulti, take out a key target, and you will be doing your team a service. Apart from that, you're also quite good at defending solo people who are farming. If they get ganked by 2 people, then you appear in and counter gank, then you're going to get a couple kills from the surprise. Queen of Pain is a surprise ganker, and you want to use her as such. Get as close as you can, teleport next to someone, and give them no reaction time to actually stop you destroying their face. So yes, that is the general tips for the Queen of Pain. I don't want to go too in-depth too much because I want this to be a bite-sized video where you can learn, you know, general things you should be doing. And I know some people are going to be like, these tips and things are simple, but believe me, from the general play I've seen in the beta, a lot of people need to follow simple rules like this. And I think this is what this is. It will help you to become a better Queen of Pain player if you just follow these tips. So yes, that is me done for today's episode. We will be back probably next week. Let me know what you thought about this video. It is, after all, the first episode, so I would like to get some proper feedback. And yes, I will see you next time, hopefully, with probably Ricky Maru. I'm thinking about Ricky Maru. He's my second hero, so we'll see. But yes, let me know what you think. That has been it for Queen of Pain. Goodbye.
The pain train.
Alright, come on, let's kite. No, kite! Kite!
Does this hurt?
Come on, kite. He's killing himself, so just kite.
Pain builds.
Alright, I sure want to give him lifesteal.
Swiftly.
Oh, wow.